there's this misperception that manufacturing is, just a dirty job, right? Crawling around on the floor, doing something dirty. And that's really not the case. And I think that would open a lot of doors for people if we could kind of break down that wall and really share just the amazing advancements in technology and all of the digitalization that we're putting into our factories.
Hello, and welcome to The Optimistic Outlook. I'm Lauren Espin, stepping in as your narrator for the next few episodes. If you're a longtime listener, you know that our previous episode marked a special milestone. It was the final one hosted by Barbara Humpton. Barbara helped us launch The Optimistic Outlook 5 years ago, right in the middle of the pandemic, as a way to share stories of progress, innovation, and optimism when the world needed them most. In her last episode, Barbara sat down with Steve Clements, who turned the tables and interviewed her about her journey, leadership, and of course, her trademark optimism. If you haven't heard it yet, it's a wonderful reflection on what this podcast stands for, and a fitting farewell for Barbara as she begins her next chapter. Normally, I work behind the scenes on this show, helping to produce and shape the stories you hear, but I'm happy to step in for a little while as we begin a new chapter of our own. Over the next few episodes, you'll hear from a series of guest hosts, each bringing their own perspective while keeping optimism at the heart of every conversation. Because no matter who's behind the mic, The Optimistic Outlook will continue to do what it's always done best: share stories of people and technologies that are making for a better tomorrow. So let's dive right in. Manufacturing is at the center of a historic moment. Billions of dollars in new investment and groundbreaking technologies are re-industrializing America. Yet one challenge remains stubbornly the same. Hundreds of thousands of open jobs are waiting to be filled. How do we attract and develop a new generation of manufacturing leaders? As we try to answer this, here's a thought-provoking statistic. Women make up less than 1/3 of the manufacturing workforce. It's been this way for decades. Why is that happening? And more importantly, what's needed to not only attract more women into manufacturing careers, but also to ensure they're supported to grow, lead, and stay for the long haul? To explore these questions, we're joined by two remarkable leaders at different points of their incredible careers. Cheryl Kiolbassa has spent 3 decades driving digital transformation in manufacturing, while Anna Bumpious has built her career in leading teams and mentoring the next generation of engineers. Together, they'll share their journeys, the challenges they've faced, and their vision for what comes next. Guiding the conversation is our guest host, Barry Powell, Regional CEO and President of Siemens Electrical Products. Let's take a listen to what Barry, Cheryl, and Anna had to share.
Cheryl and Anna, it's great to have you on the podcast today. Women make up only about 29% of the manufacturing workforce. Have either of you encountered misperceptions about women in manufacturing? Then we'll start with you, Cheryl.
I think, not very often, but sometimes I'll hear that maybe women are, better suited for more support roles, Barry. I've actually heard that from some folks. And I think that stereotype, I guess, is long past. In reality, we've got so many women that are taking major roles in our operations and driving innovation across our industry. That myth has been shattered for sure. And also, there may be some people have some hesitation. Manufacturing is very fast paced. It's very dynamic. And, I think women are very well suited for that. We've got a lot of resilience and a lot of adaptability. So, again, I think these are fantastic characteristics of the manufacturing environment that women are well suited for.
What? Anna?
Yeah, I think, just looking back at my career, even in school, I was, maybe one of just a few women in my classes. Most of the teams that I've been part of, I was maybe the only, woman on the team. And, I never let that deter me or, get me down in any regard. I always thought that was a motivating factor. It always drove me to to be the best, to always excel and to find, where I truly fit in to the business. And that way I could bring my best to the conversation. And I think, Doing those things, earned me a seat at the table. It earned me the respect of my colleagues, and ultimately, has given me the success that I have found in my career.
Well, I was drawn into manufacturing. I didn't start there, but I was drawn to there because it really truly is where technology meets tangible outcomes. And in our factories, I loved how it streamlined complexity, gave instant feedback loops to folks, makes processes repeatable and scalable. All of those things really appealed to me, Barry. But I started out in oil and gas. When I started, though, I made a list of things I was looking for in my dream job. These were responsibilities, they were skills, they were experiences, they were values and companies that were important to me. And while I didn't start there in manufacturing, I would certainly be here to tell you that it's because I was in manufacturing that each and everything on that list was attainable. So it's certainly why I've stayed here the last 30 years.
Anna, in a relatively short career, you had a number of roles here. From project management to factory supervision of actual manufacturing to now leading an engineering group. What ties that all together for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think, each step that I've taken in my career has really built upon the previous one. I started out as an R&D engineer, a production support engineer when I graduated from college. And that really gave me a foundational understanding of, how our products work, why we were doing what we were doing. And that really was able to help translate into what our customers needed when I moved into project management. And that really helped me be able to communicate and advocate for what they needed and really just be able to give them, the information that they needed on their project status. And that really just translated into, moving into a factory supervisor role of running the production line. I had built the skills that I needed to make that jump into a leadership position. And so I had earned the respect from my colleagues and the team that, had taught me a lot of things before stepping into that role. And it was really great to, just really have that hands-on on the shop floor, day to day, solving problems, getting things done, shipping product out the door. And it's really come full circle for me now managing the engineering team that I started on back when I was a co-op and that I got hired full-time to be part of. So I'm really looking forward to seeing what's next as we continue to evolve.
Great, Anna. Thanks for sharing that perspective. Clearly, in a relatively short amount of time, you've had a huge impact as well, just like Cheryl. For both of you, how do we as a company strike the right balance between being honest about the challenges women face in manufacturing without discouraging them pursuing a career in that space? Cheryl, again, start with you.
I think first of all, we have to share our success stories, right? Hearing authentic, real life experiences from women in the industry, I think that goes a long way with folks. I also think we need to emphasize our supportive cultures that we have here in manufacturing. We have great organizations in terms of reskilling and building technical skills, but also around family resources and things that are some of our top values. So I think those two things, sharing the spotlight, can go a long way.
Anna, anything to add?
Yeah, I mean, I would sum up exactly what Cheryl said, which is active listening. I think it's so important to listen to the women in these positions already within the company and really just get their feedback and just understanding, what they need to be successful, just like Cheryl mentioned with family resources and all of those things that, women deal with in the workplace. I think it's really important to just have an active listening, just mindset and perspective. Like Cheryl said, just making sure that the voices of women in the industry are heard, that they're spotlighted, and that just support and resources are available to them and that it's being shared and communicated proactively. I think that's so important to building up women in this industry and retaining them and keeping them here, which ultimately is what we want to do.
Great. No, I think thanks for both of you sharing your perspectives. Had the opportunity, you to share a couple pictures of your young daughter and thinking about her future and the future for all girls. What do you hope she'll see in you and other women leading the way in manufacturing?
Yeah, I mean, I really hope that she sees that she can be whatever she wants to be when she grows up. And whether that be, something in manufacturing, which would be super exciting, but I won't force that on her if that's not her vision. But I really just hope that she's inspired to do her best and figure out what her strengths are and find a place where she can truly be herself and excel. And that was for me personally, manufacturing, and that has been, my passion and my joy, over my career. So, I really hope that, as she grows up, there's even more women in leadership across the industry, and that's just something that she can envision for herself. And that's just, something that seems attainable and reachable, and it's not this crazy far off, dream that, just isn't possible.
No, thank you, Anna. I think you're already a great role model for her. And as she grows up, I think, you will encourage her to pursue her passions. But with what she sees you doing in the manufacturing space, that might be an area she's excited about. For both of you, you can feel the excitement you have for manufacturing, but there's 800,000 job openings in the space. The real challenge right now for our company and for industry overall. I guess reflecting on your own experiences here, what are people overlooking relative to manufacturing as a career path? Cheryl, maybe we'll start with you on this.
For sure, the competitive salaries, the clear advancement paths vary, and the opportunities to innovate I think are three real leading promising discussions that don't often get the spotlight in manufacturing that they should. I would also say, when we talk about kind of, I'm doing air quotes, future-proof, careers, a lot of times you hear about finance or healthcare, and manufacturing doesn't get that spotlight either. And I think it's really critical that we raise that narrative and talk about how critical manufacturing is to the economic stability.
Thank you, Cheryl. Anna, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's this misperception that manufacturing is, just a dirty job, right? Crawling around on the floor, doing something dirty. And that's really not the case. I mean, I think, there's so many support functions and details of logistics that go into making a manufacturing, space work. And I really think just sharing and promoting that, I think, would draw a lot of people to this industry that maybe otherwise wouldn't be looking. They just don't realize the possibilities that manufacturing offers. They think about, manufacturing from a long, long time ago and like what that looks like. And that's really not reflective of, the situation today. And I think that would open a lot of doors for people if we could kind of break down that wall and really share just the amazing advancements in technology and all of the digitalization that we're putting into our factories. I think there's a lot of exciting things happening that people would be very interested in if we could just get that out there and then really share that with people looking.
Thanks, both of you. And I think as a company, we are trying very hard to tell your stories, to tell the stories of the technology and the opportunities out there, and we'll continue to do so. And Cheryl, you're known for focus on technology and digital transformation. And how do these advances make manufacturing more appealing for the next generation?
I loved this question. I absolutely love this question. First of all, smart technologies, Barry, we have AI, we have robotics, IoT, data analytics are very exciting on their own. But what they do is they turn manufacturing into the high-tech playground. I mean, let's be real. It's talent is drawn to these environments and they can use these cutting-edge tools, but they're not just buzzwords. They're impactful innovations. They're making a difference by deploying them in our operations every single day. And you don't have to be a seasoned 30-year person like me to work on one of these projects. These folks are coming in their first year. They're simulating a new line. Maybe the second year they're leading the installation of that new line. I mean, these, again, the opportunities for leadership, the opportunities for skill development are second to none.
Well, I'll tell you what, with that kind of positivity here, It's my understanding it's customary to end each episode of the Optimistic Outlook on an optimistic note. So we'll start with Anna and then you, Cheryl. If you could dream up one bold initiative to bring more people into the industry, what would it be and what is your optimistic outlook?
Just thinking through, what my future looks like for my daughter. I really think getting into early education, elementary school, middle school, high school, and really showing students, kids, what manufacturing has to offer. I mean, I really think we could change the trajectory and just the opportunities that exist, moving forward. I mean, that's our pipeline. That's our future pipeline for talent coming into the industry. And so I really think the earlier that you can start, I mean, I think we do a great job with colleges and universities and partnering with them and then, having just a robust, intern program and leadership programs that, early career professionals can come into. But I think we need to look even further back into just the world of academics and really just start harnessing that excitement for manufacturing. And like Cheryl said, just the passion and, just exciting innovation that comes with that technology. We need to get that out there to kids of a young age. That way, that's something that they can look forward to and be part of as they grow and hopefully, end up at Siemens one day.
A twist on that. Okay, so I would name my initiative "Manufacture Your Future" because I feel like that was my story. And maybe there are some folks that are mid-career or maybe even a little later career that are, they're just not attaining what they set out to do. Maybe that checklist on their dream job isn't becoming their reality. So how can we attract those folks who maybe, really looking for that opportunity to reinvent themselves and re-career? I think that's a huge opportunity. And there's all kinds of, aspects that how we can do that. But I would love to see an emphasis on that. Because again, like we know, we need the folks to come in. We need the talent. And I think we should, embrace all ranges of the career for that. I just want to say thank you. Someone 30 plus years in their career. I'm still having a first. This was my first podcast. I'm super excited.
Thanks, Cheryl. And I want to thank both of you for sharing your journeys and perspectives on the Optimistic Outlook today. Thanks.
Thanks, Barry.
Thank you.
It makes it easy with these ladies here. Glad to do it.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of Optimistic Outlook. Be sure to tune in for more conversations with leaders shaping technology for a better tomorrow. Please subscribe to Optimistic Outlook wherever you listen to your podcasts and be sure to share the podcast with a friend or colleague.